This is Lewis with Running Fit. Today we're here with one of our favorite customers, Ronnie Riddle. Ronnie has a really amazing story, so we thought we'd sit him down in front of the camera. I'm always hearing bits and pieces from different employees, different customers. So, Ronnie, you have a really amazing story. I guess we should just kind of go back to the beginning. You're 29, you have, polycystic kidney disease, PKD. You're going for a yearly checkup to see how your kidneys are functioning, right? How did this all start? You're going for this yearly checkup. What happens?
My doctor comes back to me and tells me he's grateful that I quit smoking. That's a wonderful thing, and he goes, "You keep telling me how important your kids and your wife are to you." He goes, "But you continue to live this lifestyle of unhealthy eating and not exercising, and if you keep going this way, you're going to end up in a grave at an early age like your father did."
Yeah.
And when he said that, it clicked.
But so at that point, you're about at least 100 pounds heavier than you were now. And you just quit smoking.
113 pounds, yeah.
And you've never run before in your life.
No, other than just sports related, the punishment for not doing something right in football or for any type of conditioning for another sport. I've never actually ran track or cross country or anything like that.
So the light goes off, and you changed everything, right? You changed your diet, you started exercising. Tell us about the first time you went running. You told me you had some old shoes, and you just kind of went out. And
about a year and a half prior, we had went to a running store, and I had gotten a pair of Asics. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were 2160s or 2150s, or something in that range. They were orange. I mean, I remember them to the T. I wore them for a couple of years. I never ran in them. Weight Watchers was a big thing for me, and they were, talking about going out and getting some exercise. So I was going out walking, a 3 times a week, and I decided to go ahead and try and run this quarter mile that I knew was a quarter mile because it was posted on the docks down by Fort Lake. And so I took off and started running, and then all of a sudden I get to the quarter mile and I realize I can run a little bit further. I'd slow down a little bit, but I can run a little further than this. So I ended up going about 1.5 miles the first time I ever ran. And I got talked into doing a race.
So you signed up for the Big Heart 5K by your
Yes.
sister and brother-in-law.
That is right.
That was your first race ever. And so this was in 2010. This is fall of 2010, and it's February of 2012 right now.
That is correct. About 1.5 years.
So,
A little less than 1.5 years. The brother-in-law had been running. He had lost some weight doing that, and it was a stress reliever for him. My wife was a cross-country person. She did that in high school, and I was going out and I watched her do 5Ks and things like that, and I'm like, why would you want to go race fast?
Yep.
That was the big question I had to myself. So when they talked me into it, I said okay, and I looked up a beginning training plan. I think it was the balance site or some new. I mean, you can basically.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I started following the plan. I had been running a little bit further than what they had suggested at that point. Anyways, they were doing the interval.
Yep.
And so I went to the moderate plan and just started training for it. And when it came around, it was time. My brother-in-law and my wife were both sick, couldn't run, so I ended up doing it myself.
So your experience of how you perceived going to a race with all these people, the finish lines and the start, the timing, what you were expecting to have happen was different from your actual experience, right? It's different watching than it is doing.
Yeah, it was one of those things of, why would I run if I can't win? I mean, that's the big question everybody has. Right? Why run if you can't compete? Well, I found out that day. I went out and I ran that race. I was about 30 pounds the day I ran it. And it wasn't about beating the people that were towing the line, that were racing against each other for money or for the prize or for the glory of first place. It was about completing a journey.
Yep.
A smaller journey than other journeys, but it was a journey in itself. You know, you have your training, you have to train for this. This isn't something you go out and do tomorrow. You know, you have to prepare for it just like anything else. And so it became, it's never, I wouldn't say fun to run, it's fun to finish running.
Yeah.
It's great to cross that line.
So since then, I don't want to say you've become addicted, but
Absolutely addicted.
but now you're setting all these other goals. You're running ultras. You have your sights set on Boston. But that's going to wait a little bit because you have all these other things.
There's a possibility to have to wait just because of my goal isn't on speed right now. My goal is on distance. So I've towed back some of the speed work and added a little more distance work in.
But the point being is this whole world of opportunities and things that you never would have thought about 2-3 years ago are now there right now. Like it's this Pandora's box that you opened. It's this whole part of your life that you didn't know existed.
Absolutely, it's amazing at the not only at running opportunities, but the opportunity to talk to more people. I mean, during your ultras, people don't know what that is. It's a distance further than a marathon. You don't run at a very fast pace. It's not about how fast you do it. I'm not an elite athlete by any means. I'm just an average Joe.
But compared to the guy sitting on the couch, you do quite a bit.
Yes, but anybody, and I say this to everybody, anybody out there that has never tried running, it's not as hard as it looks. It really just takes a little bit of time, and a little bit of training, and a lot of mental thought. Get out there and do it.
You lost all of this weight.
Yep.
Right? And so people who didn't know what you were doing, this is a dramatic change, right? Because they would know you your whole life, and you weren't an athletic person. You weren't
Not healthy, no.
If you went out and find someone who hasn't talked to you in 10 years and told them that you were out running and doing all this ultra marathons and out to 5Ks all the time, the guys at the running store know you by name, they might be surprised.
I think a lot of people are shocked. I mean, I have ran into people that I knew in high school that have no idea who I am because I'm not the same person. I mean, my voice is the same, my personality is the same. I'm a little less stressed because running helps me get rid of my stress. But I'm the same guy, just in a completely different body, and my mindset's different. I don't feel like I can't do anything. Running has brought about the ability mentally to say I can do anything.
So the other thing that we were talking about earlier is, you have a job, you have kids, you have a wife, you're doing all these other things, right? And so you still have time for all those things, and you fit into running. Can you kind of talk about some people? They feel really busy, they get really caught up in a lot of things that they're doing. And can you just talk about what you had to do mentally, or how you had to rearrange your schedule to kind of make running a part of your life?
Yes, I believe with anything in life, priority, you have your priorities. And if you want to be healthy, one of your priorities needs to be, besides good food, but you need to set time aside for exercising. Instead of turning the TV on, and I know, it's a 30-minute show, but 30 minutes of running, that's a long time. It's healthy, it's good for your heart, it's good for the rest of your body. It helps you lose weight, helps you maintain weight.
Yep. And even getting out there just 30 minutes a day, a couple times a week makes a huge
20
difference.
20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever you can prioritize into your schedule. I mean, there's times that I decide that my running is more important than the sleep. And so I get up and, maybe I go on 4 or 5 hours of sleep or whatever it may be. I still work. I work 10 hours a day. I get mandatory 2 days a week for Saturdays, or 2 Saturdays a month, I mean. And there's sometimes I work Sundays, so I work midnight, so I kind of squeeze everything in, and while the family goes to bed at night, I put on my running clothes and I head out the door with a headlamp. And
so for people who've never run before and feel like they're really busy, it's completely doable to spend a couple days a week, getting out for 30 minutes at a time. You know, they don't need to, not everyone's going to want to do adults or anything like that, but for the people who just want to get into running, never done it before, it's just a matter of getting out the door and trying it, right?
Get out there and do it. Just go and don't set unachievable goals. Just one foot in front of the other, and that's about as simple as that. I mean, running is probably the simplest form of exercise I can think of besides walking. And I just like running. It's a little more high intensity, you know. So it's pretty easy.
Great. Is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything?
Running is cheap.
Running is cheap?
Running can be cheap. Just a good pair of shoes and some good socks, and you should be able to walk out the door and go run.
And just so we can bring this full circle, you recently went back for your checkup on your liver, or your kidneys with your doctor, right? And so you told me that your function had been declining when you went for that checkup when you were 29. It sounds like now you're back up to 100%. Everything's
100%
good.
functioning. He said he's never seen anything like it, to continue to do whatever I was doing. So running is my big thing. So
running and your diet, and you know, if things keep going well, you know, you're going to be able to have more time in the long run with your family, with you're going to have a
before
lot
I have
of
to
fun.
go on dialysis or have a kidney transplant, I've increased my time frame for that. So I get to live a little longer with my kidneys and not with somebody else's or on a machine. So it's a big deal.
Well, great. This is great to hear. We love it when people come into the store and tell us these great stories. So if you have any awesome stories, come in, we sit down, we talk about it. I really want to thank Ronnie for being such a great customer and always making it fun to come into work. So thanks Ronnie.
Yep.